Yeah, the race was one of the most exciting races of the season. I can tell you that because Silverstone, every year, it has always given us goosebumps. It has always provided one of the best racing every year. And with Brits on the grid, it has not been short of excitement, fun, beauty, greatness. And this race was not less than that. It is iconic. It is great. What a race. Gave us so many twists, so many things. You know, in Silverstone, you can have some places wet, some places dry. The rain. Oh my God, what a race. Starting the race, Perez asked penalties to serve, changed some of his power unit component. Pierre Gasly also did the same thing. Like I said yesterday, he had the 50 grid place penalty. Now, I've been saying for some time about the upgrades Mercedes have brought, that the upgrades they have brought, the suspension, front wings, and the floor, had given them the boost. A lot of commenters have been saying, no, it is the front wings that have given them the wings to fly. No. I've said that over and over again, that they've had the suspension and the floor, which are the major things that have given them the platform in which they are working on. But you know, people will not believe. People that they don't even see it. But now they can now start seeing the reason why the Mercedes has a bulge on the upper part of the suspension plate. That is where that thing that stabilizes that car is. That does not give them the bouncing they are having at the early part of the season. So Mercedes is more stable now, and they just need to bring more upgrades to make the car faster. The car is fast, but not as fast as they want it to be. It's not competing. The McLaren is still faster than that Mercedes, and also the Red Bull. For us to have a 3-4 way ride, we need the Mercedes to be faster, the Ferrari to be faster. Now we have 4 cars tangling. But back to the race. Also, the front wings that Aston Martin brought has been tremendously giving them an hiccup. Also, they also bought some front suspension, and I said Mercedes also needs to bring some rear suspension parts to give them the hiccup or the better boost they need, which they've not done. So Perez tire from pit lane. We have the first 13 cars on the grid on medium tires and 2 cars on soft tires. Meanwhile, others are on medium tires. In Britain, all through the weekend, over 480,000 fans visited, in which surpasses last year. That was 440. And we have 164 of them in the race today. Meanwhile, about 60,000 plus fans had to camp or stay in campsites around the circuit overnight. Now, from the start of the race, this is the real analysis. There might be other things that we'll analyze later in the video, but this is the main analysis for the race. From the first part of the race, the Mercedes had a plan, and I think it worked well for them, because if they had not done that, they might have lost one or the 2 cars at the beginning of the race. Lewis Hamilton protected his teammate. Immediately he moved behind him to reduce the slipstream effect towards Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. It was able to start the Mercedes 1-2, and they were off. So Lewis Hamilton was able to protect George Russell, his teammate, and that was a good plan for them that worked for Mercedes. Pierre Gasly could not start the race because he was having gearbox issue. Remember, they just changed the engine and a lot of things on the car, but still he could not start. I think Alpine still has issues. So back to Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. He was able to protect him, and from there Mercedes was able to go on, and they were able to break from the slipstream, while Max Verstappen struggled in the first stint of the race. I think the car struggled on hard tires and the heavy fuel on the car. He was unable to hold the third position for a long time, while Lando Norris overtook him on lap 16. Remember, the McLaren loves the cold weather. Meanwhile, Mercedes also love the cold weather. But who can treat their tire well? I think McLaren can treat their tire well than the Mercedes. Lando Norris was able to overtake Max Verstappen back on lap 16, because Max Verstappen overtook him on the first lap on the 5th turn. Nearly he overtook him, trying to chase down Lewis Hamilton, and he was taking his time. Like I said, they were gentler and kinder on their own tires. That was where the main race started. Oscar Piastri too was able to overtake Max Verstappen without issues on the same corner the next lap to gain the 4th position. Around that time, it had started drizzling, and Max Verstappen said he was trying to keep himself in position because he was unable to get the right heat into his tire. But around that time, when the race started falling, the McLaren were able to have the right heat in their tire to maintain a good road contact with the car. So as soon as possible, Lewis Hamilton overtook his teammate to take the 1st position to be in P1. On lap 19, as soon as possible, Lando took advantage and overtook George Russell. On lap 20, Lando was in the lead of the race. He overtook Lewis Hamilton easily. Both Lewis Hamilton and George Russell were struggling on the tires, but Lewis Hamilton still had the better traction. Oscar Piastri did the same, overtook the 2 Mercedes, and they were running McLaren 1-2 easily for them. But now the problem is, how do they change tires? How did they start to change tires? The McLarens were closer. It was too late for them. The rain was getting much. Even those that went on Inter were sleeping in. And that was the first mistake Ferrari did. Pit Charles Leclerc on the Inters about 10 laps before others started moving onto the Inter tires. And that was where they started crumbling and they destroyed Charles Leclerc's race. And today, the Ferrari were nowhere in the race. they were just nowhere. The race pace wise, no. Race, no. They were nowhere. Strategy, tire choices. In this kind of weather, you need to be on the right tire at the right time. The McLaren could not double stack, so they had to pit Norris and take time to pit Piastri on the next lap. Immediately they pitted Lando Norris, Mercedes were able to double stack. He came out and he was right behind his teammate before his teammate, that took Oscar Piastri back to 7th in the race because it took him time. He had to overtake those that had overtaken him while he was in the pit lane. That was where his race started, so he had to struggle back. While all these were going on, the Mercedes suffered another DNF, their second DNF of the season, through George Russell that had first DNF of the season, and that was due to water pressure issues on George Russell's car. Now the race was getting more interesting. The rain has stopped. It was projected to stop on lap 40, but the rain stopped on lap 35. Now some places are still wet. They were able to use their tires to scoop the water because Formula 1 cars are best scoopers of water. Their tires are best scoopers of water, so they're able to get that done, get the water out of the way. Now who will bail the cat? Who will go into the pit first? The McLaren had the opportunity to pit anytime now or double stack because they have a lot of spaces between their drivers. Lewis Hamilton took the gamble with Max Verstappen, but the tire strategy plays in. Lewis Hamilton had new soft tires, one new soft tire and one new hard tire. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen has one new hard tire and one new soft tire also. Lando Norris is having a new medium tire and a scrubbed soft tires, in which he could go on medium tires. That was the first mistake, going on medium tires. Lewis Hamilton was able to preserve his tires. It would have even been very difficult for him to overtake Lewis Hamilton even on the medium tires, but he might have come second. With George Russell out, he might have come second. Lewis Hamilton was able to come clean, preserve his tire. Through the pit stop, he was able to overtake Lando Norris. Lando Norris had about 2 seconds extra waste on his pit stop because he slid away from where he was meant to stop. So they had to move forward to change his tire. He lost 2 seconds extra. Lewis Hamilton jumped in on 2 seconds, built another 1 second gap to make it 3 seconds. They had a tussle that was not close, and Lewis Hamilton was able to hold on to the pace, consistently holding on to that pace. But with Max Verstappen on that tire, the tire came in for him later, and he was able to overtake Lando Norris. He had 4 laps to overtake Lewis Hamilton with 3 seconds, but Lewis Hamilton was able to come home ahead of him in 1.5 seconds. And that makes the 9th win and the first win for Lewis Hamilton in 2.5 years. His last win was in Saudi Arabia 2021, and this is his 9th Silverstone GP win in his career. It was just a good day for him, a glorious day for him, because after all these years, he has been on podium, but he has not had a win. And for a driver like that will keep doubting himself because of the machinery he had, it's a good win for Lewis Hamilton. And Max Verstappen came in second. Great racing for Max Verstappen today. Less mistake, total focus, and Lando Norris came third. Oscar Piastri 4th. Carlos Sainz 5th. Nico Hülkenberg 6th. Great drive for Nico Hülkenberg. That ass. The Aston Martin came home with points. Lance Stroll 7th. Fernando Alonso 8th. Albon 9th and Yuki Tsunoda 10th. And it was a good race for Hülkenberg, for Albon today. A very, very good race for them. They performed well. 2 DNFs, Pierre Gasly and George Russell. Great drive from Lewis Hamilton. Total focus. And congratulations to Mercedes. A back-to-back win in a long time. What a race. There will be some little add-ups to this analysis, but this is the basic things that happened and how the race panned out. And up to on to the next video. We'll be meeting in Hungary in 2 weeks' time. There will be a lot of shots coming in, a lot of videos coming in. Up on to the next video. I love you guys. And congratulations again to Mercedes and to the British fans for having a win. A 1-3 for Britain today. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.